Hi there, this is Niki Rowland for Spiegelmom Scraps, and today I'm making a layout with a bit of a love theme going on. So I've chosen to use a cut file from the store, which is a free cut file, and it's called All My Heart, and I'm using the really lovely Hex-a Love sequin mix for this layout today. So they're the only sequins I'm using. I'm also using the Hearts wood veneers too, and what I'm doing is I'm making loads of shaker pockets. So I have cut that cut file from a pattern paper, and I want to make each of those open hearts into a shaker pocket and fill up with the wooden hearts and the really lovely Hex-a Love sequins too. In those sequins you have some different coloured different types of sequins, obviously. Some are hexagons, most of them are hexagons, and they're in lovely shades of reds and golds, and there's also a few wood veneer words in there that say love. So I think it's a really lovely, very pretty mix, and I really wanted to showcase that today. So I say I've cut this cut file from pattern paper, and right now what I'm doing is painfully backing each one of those hearts, open hearts, with a piece of acetate. There are 9 open hearts on this cut file, so be warned before you embark on this project that this took me quite a while, and I don't know if there's a better way to add acetate to a cut file like this, but I drew the hearts. I used a Sharpie because I could not for the life of me find my slick writer that writes on acetate nicely, which I did later find in my daughter's bedroom. She obviously went off with it. So I used a black Sharpie to draw around the hearts onto the acetate, and then I cut them out slightly smaller, and then I stuck them all on. Now I've stuck it on with tape from my tape gun, which wasn't that easy because my tape is wider than it needed to be, or than the cut file needed to be. So I have some sticky bits, which is why you can see me rubbing there with my finger trying to get the sticky bits off of the acetate there, and also from around the edge of the cut file too. I keep sticking it to my desk, but I decided that tape was the best option to apply the acetate because I've not had much luck in the past with sticking acetate down with wet glue like a PVA or glossy accents. I find that it kind of peels over time, so I figured that tape was the best option, even though I did get a bit sticky in the process. So you can see I'm nearly done backing all of those open hearts with acetate, and then the next thing to do is to go round each of those open hearts, still on the back of, so we're on the back of the cut file, that's what you can see at the moment, the back of the cut file, and I had to go around each one of those open hearts and add foam risers or foam pads, and I needed to create an entire wall of these around each of the hearts to make sure that my sequins didn't escape. So if I had been adding glitter, then they would have literally had to have been an entire wall, but I could have got away with spacing out a little bit because the sequins obviously are, you know, of a reasonable size. They're not tiny particles like glitter. But however, my narrow foam pads that I've got there come off in strips really well. They are all individual ones, but they also come off really nicely in strips. So I just pulled off strips and curled them round, so I have ended up with a wall around each one of my hearts, what I then have to do after I have added the foam pads all around the hearts is get the backs off of those foam pads so that I can then stick a backing on. This is really boring to watch, so I'm going to skip forward until we've got something a bit more interesting, but you've got the idea. You can see my process here. I've got the foam risers going all the way around the edges of those hearts, and then I'm going to peel all the backs off, and then I will be in a position to add my sequins in the middle. So I'm back now with a in a much better position. I've cut out lots of the video, so you didn't have to watch me try and get the backs off of those foam pads. They took me forever to get the backs off of those. There's so many of them. I used tweezers. They're a bit static, so it's a bit of a pain to pull the backs off. But this is the fun part. So I started off by putting the two Love wooden veneer shapes into the hearts that I wanted them in, and then I added some of the wooden hearts so that I had a reasonable amount in each, and then I've just poured in the sequins from the Hex-a Love set, and now I can just go and add on my backings. So what I did was just draw around those hearts again and cut them out roughly, and they're going on the back, so they won't be seen. They're white cardstock. I did toy with the idea of sticking this directly to my layout, but I decided it was going to be too hard to do. And now I have a piece that I can move around and tuck things under, so I'm happy with that. So, and it looks absolutely awesome. It was definitely worthwhile doing. It was definitely a labour of love. It took a long time to fill all of those 9. Perhaps if you want to create a little shaker pocket, perhaps don't do 9 on one layout. It did take a long time, but the result is stunning. It looks absolutely awesome. So now I have my background sorted, I can start making the rest of my layout. So I'm just trying to work out where everything should go. And the cut file, I've decided is just purely going to go straight in the middle of this layout. So I have 2 different levels on this layout. I have the foam risers with the shaker pockets that give an extra bit of dimension. So I've just applied flat tape to those, and the bits where they don't have shaker pockets, the other part of the cut file, I needed to add foam risers on, so I have done that so that the there's no dipping of the cut file in places, so the whole thing's the same height is what I'm trying to get at. And now I'm just going through and trying to find some ephemera. I'm going to keep my layout fairly simple because I have so much going on in the background. There is this, you know, the background is the real masterpiece of this layout, the focal point, and I don't want to detract from that too much. So I'm using the new Crate Paper Valentine's collection, which is called LaLaLove, and that cut file has been cut from one of the pattern papers. I've just got a white background, and I'm toyed with whether it should have a border or not, but in the end I decided it didn't need a border, which is unusual for me. And now I just want a few bits to put together around my photo. So I have this lovely photo of my daughter, and I'm just put my daughter and my little baby, and it's such a lovely photo. He loves her and she just totally adores him. It's so cute, so I can't think of a better photo to go on a love layout. So literally just a couple of bits of ephemera going behind my photo. I've got a chipboard piece there, the turquoise one, which gives it a bit of extra dimension and a different texture. That's come from one of the chipboard sheets, and it wasn't quite big enough, so I had to cut it in half, but as it's going to be behind my photo, that doesn't matter, no one will know. And I've picked out that large piece of ephemera that says hugs and kisses, and I want that to go on the layout somewhere. And I have that little tag to the right of my photo too, but I was left with a small gap between the chipboard piece and where the tag was in the photo. I had this little gap that didn't look right, so that's why I added the little hugs sticker at the bottom there. And I'm just adding some extra hearts to the layout because there aren't enough, I'm just putting that big one up there, and that needs a little cluster to go with it. So I've got a glittery silver sticker from one of the sticker sheets, and that big one as well, and just putting some gold thread around the top of my tag there before I get that in place. Something that really upsets me is the fact that I'm covering up one of the shaker pockets, but there's nowhere else on the layout for the photo to go. There isn't a large enough area really where there's no shakers, that I was happy with anyway. So I have just had to live with the fact that I'm covering up one of those shaker pockets that took me so long to make. But it's fine, I can get over it. So yeah, just finishing off that little cluster at the top there. I wanted to bring in a bit more of the turquoise colour. It really lifted the layout. As much as I love pinks and reds and gold, it was looking a little bit, well, it wasn't very colourful, so an extra pop of a different colour really lifted it up a lot. And then I'm adding in some black and white flowers too. Again, it was nice to have something that wasn't pink, red or gold. So yeah, it's all coming together. I wanted to add a title there, so I've just used one of the stickers from the sticker sheet. It says "So Sweet," yeah, just getting things sorted. So I tend to fiddle around a lot with my layouts to make sure that I'm really happy with everything, see how much I can fit on one layout. I do like to overly embellish my layouts. Why have all these embellishments if we don't use them? That's kind of how I think. So yeah, just getting that final touches together, trying to decide at the moment if I should put some journaling in or whether I need to have that border. Back to the border conundrum. I do love a border, but in the end I decided to go for two very narrow strips, one at the top and one at the bottom. Although the one at the bottom, I decided there was quite a lot going on at the bottom, so I thought if I make it smaller it would ground it without being overpowering, because it's quite a dark red as well. So I've just put those really tiny narrow strips at the top and the bottom, and I feel, and added another label at the bottom there too, and I just feel that that added that little extra bit to the layout that it needed for me to feel happy with it. That pop of colour around the edge I think really helps white backgrounds stand out. So that was the way I did that here. I had tried a number of different borders around the paper, but it just didn't work. So okay, that is me done. I'm going to leave that there, call it there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that layout today, and we'll give Shaker Pockets a go. That was Niki Rowland for Spiegelmom Scraps, and don't forget to enter a code and you will get a 15% discount.